afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. We've got a very interesting show for you this afternoon. I don't normally do the 2 o'clocks as well, so smash a like. I love the 2 o'clock show. Really interesting. We were sort of talking about this morning, and it's very coincidental how it's now become a story today. Lots of frustration around INEOS from outgoings and incomings around the manager. There's a feeling that they're just not providing clarity on what Man United's vision is. Well, look, I have a lot of sympathy for INEOS and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but welcome to the world of Manchester United and welcome to the world of owning a football club. If you dither, you lose. If you snooze, you lose. And there is a feeling amongst certain Man United players and certain United potential signings that they are dithering and that they are being indecisive. And look, it's interesting because we were talking about this morning in relation to Ten Hag. Would now not be the perfect time to say that you're backing him because the FA Cup really shouldn't make a difference if you can see the vision with him. But this is now having an impact. Numerous reports coming out. But also what I would say is, remember what Bruno Fernandes said last night. And Bruno Fernandes expected to be one of those frustrated players in the sense that he apparently held a meeting last week with Manchester United executives to find out what was going on because of a lack of clarity. Apparently those meetings led to Bruno, reaffirming his desire to stay and the club desire to keep him. But he said last night in an interview, if that meeting took place last week, why is he saying in a meeting, why is he saying in an interview last night, I want to stay here, but if the club doesn't want me to stay, I'll go? Why is he saying stuff like that? Because I don't think there is a clarity coming out at the moment. And also, this has just come out from a number of sources in the last hour or so. I think TalkSport have had it on. A couple of websites have had it on. The Telegraph have spoken about Sesko, which we'll talk in a minute, and Arsenal. Tosin, who's available on a free transfer, apparently that's stalling because Man United will not give any clarity on who the manager's going to be. So it's starting to hit a wall. Also, we're hearing that a lack of clear communication has frustrated several players with a growing sense that experienced squad members are being pushed out. Varane's already gone and Casemiro is likely to depart this summer. There's a feeling of uncertainty surrounding the next steps, which players are trying to seek clarity on, but aren't being given those clarities. Also, in relation to players that might be leaving, we're hearing that Tom Heaton, Johnny Evans, and Anthony Martial are all going to go at the end of the season with Rafael Varane. Well, surprise, surprise, everybody! You don't need a GCSE in maths to figure out that those players are all out of contract. This is not ruthlessness. This is just we're not renewing your contract. So there is a lack of clarity and Manchester United need to be very, very careful, especially when you take into account that Sesko is now being heavily linked with Arsenal. Well, if Man United can't get a free transfer Tosin over the line because we won't give clarity on what's going to happen with the manager, you're never going to be able to negotiate with somebody like Sesko, who might be a Ten Hag target, who might be an INEOS target, but will ultimately ask who the manager's going to be. So, look, this is now, I think we're getting to a point really where INEOS and Sir Jim and Sir David and Barada and Blanc and whoever else is involved is past the honeymoon period. We all want them to do well, and I believe personally that they can do well, but you can't keep making excuses. There needs to be some decisive action. We have no Dan Ashworth. We have no CEO until July. People are working on transfers now. It's mid-May. Erling Haaland had been announced as a Man City player before mid-May when he joined for them. So things can be happening right now. But if they're not happening because Man United haven't, players won't sign because they don't know what's going to happen, and players don't know who are leaving, and they don't know what's happening with the manager, well, there's only... Look, if I'm going to be completely honest here, we can't blame the Glazers anymore. We can't blame the Glazers unless they are secretly controlling transfers. We can't blame the Glazers. So, look, INEOS, some people get very excited about them. Some people get very concerned about them. Some people are sitting on the fence about them. But what we can't do is point the finger anywhere else. The clarity, whether it's player futures, signings, the situation with the manager, this needs to come from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. This needs to come from INEOS. We can't be sat here in the middle of May, sat on our arse going, let's wait and see what happens. Look, maybe you're quite happy to wait 2 weeks about the manager. Maybe you're quite happy to wait 2 weeks and see what they want to do about sales. But when it comes to signings, We can't be waiting 2 weeks. We can't wait till after the FA Cup final and go, okay, we're going to move Ten Hag on. Oh, let's see which manager we want. Oh, okay, the manager's going to be Southgate. Do you want to come to us, Sesko? Oh, he's already signed for Arsenal. Like, you've got to get moving on this, and players want a vision. I certainly would. I'd sign for Man United if David Moyes was in charge. But most footballers, if they've got an offer from Chelsea and they've got an offer from Man United, or they've got an offer from Dortmund and they've got an offer from Man United, or they've got an offer from Newcastle and they've got an offer from Man United, you're going to go, who's the manager? What's the vision? Well, we've got Eddie Howe. We want to get back into the Champions League. We want you to be our starting centre-back. Right, Man United, what you got to say? We're Manchester United. We're Manchester United. Right, who's your manager? Well, we haven't decided yet. Who's going to be in the first team? Is Rashford here next year? Is Bruno here next year? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. Yeah. What about competition for places at centre-back? I know Varane's going. Is Maguire going? Is Lindelof going? Put yourself in the shoes of Tosin, right? Free transfer. Newcastle want him. Man United want him. Where do you want to go? Well, I want to go Man United because it's Man United. Newcastle are going, good wage, clear plan, back in the Champions League, Eddie Howe, starting centre-back. Okay, Man United. Don't know who the manager's going to be. Yeah, Varane's gone. Maguire and Lindelof we don't know about yet. We might sign another 2 centre-backs. Will you be starting? Depends on the new manager and depends who we sell and buy. Yeah, forget about it. Sorry, I love the club, but forget about it. It's an issue, and we're not even talking about the manager here. We're talking about the ownership of the club and the vision that they're offering. And trust me, clubs will already know who they're signing. I would not be surprised if Man City already know who they're going to sign and the deals are nearly done. They will be nearly done. But Man United can't offer anything up. Tosin is the Fulham centre-back who's available on a free transfer. I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem that United have at the moment, that they can't sell a vision because they haven't decided on their vision. La Liga top scorer has a 40 million release clause, says Mario Franco. Rory C says, have we approached Tosin and offered him a contract? I didn't think that we had. Oh, the reports are Rory, in the last couple of hours from a couple of sources, a couple of outlets, not sources. It's out there. That Tosin's talks have stalled because there's no clarity on who's going to be sold at centre-back and who the manager's going to be. So, as a footballer, some will jump into the unknown, a lot won't. They could take time during the season, but with the transfer window fast approaching, INEOS are rightfully under pressure to make decisions, says Patrick Lynch. Fans, managers and players are right to look for clarity. Look, I don't think we need to be doing INEOS out. Please, God, no. But I think what we are seeing here is that I listened to that Bruno interview last night. He's definitely not getting the clarity he wants. Like, I know there's a report that he had a meeting with them last week and they're happy with him and he's happy with them, but he is not clearly happy. Like, I'm not saying Bruno Fernandes is going anywhere, but listen to his interview last night. Why leave it with the last one? If they want me to go, I'll go. Like, he's like, I want to be here. The club seem to want me to be here, but if they don't want me to be here, I'll go. Like, why would Bruno Fernandes be saying that in an interview? Because he's not getting the clarity. He doesn't know who the manager is, does he? He doesn't know what's happening with the manager. He doesn't know what's happening with the signings, and he doesn't know what the future's going to be. And that will be the same for a lot of players. It will be the same for Rashford, for Casemiro. It will be the same for Amrabat, a lot of players, Ahmad. Everyone's in that position. If Ten Hag's staying, I think I know the future. If he's not staying, I don't know what the future's going to be. So you've got current players that you rate. I mean, what about if you're Garnacho and Rasmus? You'll be looking at it and going, under Ten Hag, he trusts me and I will be playing next season. If Ten Hag gets sacked, I don't know. And we don't look at it like that. And that's why I think the importance of this video is actually quite big. And the news that's coming out is quite big because it's multi-layered. As a player, you think of your favourite player. Are they safe next season if the manager changes? Well, they might be, they might not be. And if you're a player that's not in Ten Hag's plans and you maybe think you're going and then he gets sacked and a new manager likes you, you might be staying again. So it works both ways. It's not just the players that you want to keep who are uncertain. It'll be the players who think they might be going who are uncertain. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, clearly a player that Ten Hag wants to move on. If a new manager comes in, they might go, I really want Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And this is all time. So if you're Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you think, you're talking to your agent who wants me, okay, let's just wait a few weeks. And then a new manager comes in and it's like, let's wait even longer. And suddenly that summer's gone. And this is what I'm talking about, the change of manager. It will mess up the clear out because players that thought they were going, Sancho will probably think, oh, I might come back as well and train a bit at Carrington. And it's just a mess again. INEOS, they need to get hold of this. They need to get hold of it really quickly. And everything falls down on the manager decision. Because if you clarify the manager situation, certain players are going to go, right, I know I'm done. Get on with the deal. I know I'm staying. Let's start putting project activity out. Transfers will start going, well, I know he's the manager. I'll sign. You know, they've got to get on with it. And it's really interesting when you look at the comments of some players, especially Bruno, when you look at what's coming out in the last couple of hours around, you know, Tosin specifically, but Sesko as well. We had Sesko's agent at Old Trafford last weekend. Was he actually there to watch Arsenal? Or were Man United looking at it and they've dithered on it? I mean, look, we've dithered. Get the words out. I'm dithering. We've dithered on deals in the past as well. I don't want Sir Jim Radcliffe and INEOS to repeat the mistakes of the past. I don't want to throw a manager under the bus again. And also, I don't want to miss out on signings because we dither. How many deals have we missed out over the years because we've been slow on them? You know, Erling Haaland springs to mind exactly, but there has been plenty of other ones as well. I think now is the time to grasp the nettle. Now is the time to start making some big decisions. 2 weeks in May can be like 2 months out of the summer transfer window. Like, I don't think we can wait. Look, if you are Newcastle, you start your summer activity on Monday because your season is over. If you're Man City, you start your summer activity on Monday. Your season is over. Nobody, well, not Man City, that's a bad example. No other club apart from Man United and Man City have got any matches after Sunday. So it's off on holiday. It's get to work for your executives and your recruitment team. Man United are losing a week if they're waiting until the FA Cup final. Like, we are losing a week on all our rivals by waiting till the FA Cup final. And we're losing that time no matter what. Because if we do keep Ten Hag after the FA Cup final, we've lost a week and a half. And if we don't keep him, we lose the week and a half anyway. Like, we need to just stop. I can't believe that INEOS haven't made their mind up. I can't believe that they're not working on deals. I can't believe that if they're changing the manager, they can't tell players about that. They can't tell new signings about that. I don't believe they know who the new manager is either. The way it's coming across at the moment is that they don't know what they're doing. And I don't mean that like you don't know what you're doing, you're bad at your job. We can't judge that. It's ridiculously unfair. They've only just started. But I do get the sense at the moment, a little fear of foreboding, that what they want to do is not as easy as they thought it was going to be. There seems to be indecisiveness. And in any walk of life, when people need to make big decisions, you look even more incompetent if you're actually dithering and not making it. You know, I think about when I used to turn up to emergencies, you know, major incidents, and the person in charge is like, I don't know whether to do this, I don't know whether to do that, I don't know whether... They just look incompetent. You want assertiveness, and this is Manchester United. We need to start making some big decisions. Best community on YouTube. Keep up the good work, says Lee. Well, that's because of you lot. How can Newcastle get stuff sorted with a no director of football? We are apparently limp till Ashworth gets here. Jim, sort it out, says Rory C. Well, Newcastle can sort stuff out, mate, because Dan Ashworth might not be there, but he'll have a technical director who worked with him. He'll have scouts. He'll have other people. He'll have a CEO. He's got Eddie Howe. So, you know, Newcastle don't have their director of football, but they've still got a lot of people who can do the recruitment. Man United don't have a CEO. We don't have a director of football, and we don't know whether we've got a manager. So how can you even recruit? You know, honestly, a lot of people will sign because of a phone call from the manager. So Erling Haaland probably spoke to Pep. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer spoke to Sancho before the deal was done. We can't even speak to players. So it's tough. It's tough. If we sell Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Evans, Maguire, Lindelof, Varane, McTominay, Donny Eriksson, Casemiro, Martial, Sancho, Greenwood, how much raised? Who should we buy? Frank, you're asking me too much. I'm not the director of football. Samuel Cookhurst has been awfully quiet. Rasmus, says Braden. Thank you very much for that. Sesko is class, says Jabir. Well, it's coming from the Telegraph. that Manchester United are behind Arsenal in the race for Sesko. We don't need Sesko, says Maniac Moran. Look, it's going to be very exciting to see what we do in this summer transfer window, but excitement doesn't always lead to the result you want. You know, many a time I've got the wrong signs and thought something was going to happen and it didn't, and it's very, very disappointing. I'll say no more. But let's use a more innocent example. I've had Christmases where I've seen a big package and I've thought, I know what that is, and then you open it up and it's something you don't want, and that is to do with presents, you filthy, filthy people. So look, but the excitement's still there when you're looking at it. You're like, whoa, what's inside there? And, you know, you can be excited by the prospect of something really exciting, but then the reality isn't always there. I stay absolutely tunnel visioned on the fact that this summer transfer window has to be revolutionary. It has to be, therefore, exciting. But the reality of a Man United summer transfer window is never anywhere near the expectation. But I hope for something different. I really, really do. Why would anyone pick United over Arsenal, says Pepper? Well, at the moment, yeah, probably not. Scott Botham says, I went to the game yesterday and had one of the best nights at Old Trafford. Amazing game and atmosphere. And I even got a picture with Angry Ginge. What a night. I mean, that's just, you know, incredible night. Absolutely incredible. Alexander Phillips says, INEOS may have football control, but ultimately the Glazers still have financial control, which means no real change. Well, we can I mean, this is a great point by Alexander. And this is where INEOS need to be very, very careful, because the overarching thing I would say is you've got Bruno saying, if they don't want me, I'll go, which clearly he's not getting clarity. You've got, and I think he will stay, by the way, but he obviously isn't getting clarity. You've got players who are current players concerned on a lack of clarity. You've got prospective signings not really looking to sign because they don't know what's going to go on. You've got Erik ten Hag unable to provide any clarity when asked. Well, all these things add up. Signings, people staying, manager staying, no clarity. Who's responsible for that? INEOS, because they're in charge of the footballing side. So they're the ones under pressure at the moment. Whether you're frustrated that we might miss out on signings, whether you're frustrated that we might not sell the right players, whether you're frustrated that we might sack the manager, this is all on INEOS. They have had the fanfare of we're in charge of football and we're here to take Manchester United back to the top. So they're going to get the pressure. And the question is, what are you doing and why aren't you doing it? And why is it taking so long? Why did you announce Dan Ashworth at the end of January and he's still not here? Why are you dithering? Because I tell you what, Sir Jim, if there's one thing we're used to at Manchester United, it is slow deals. And at the moment, every deal you've done has been really slow. Your decision around the manager, your decision around who's leaving, your decision about who's going to be signed, Dan Ashworth, Barada, these are really slow deals. So that's very Glazer-esque. Are they being hindered by the Glazers behind the scenes? You know, would Sir Jim have had Dan Ashworth in by the end of February, but the Glazers have said, no, we're not paying that money for him? You know, would we have announced more players have gone, but the Glazers have said, no, we're not selling them at a loss? Would we have more players lined up, but INEOS have said, no, we're not spending that much on players? I can't give you that answer. I think it's a very, very good opportunity for a very good piece of journalistic work. Are INEOS now the face of this new slow regime when they want to be quicker, but the Glazers have gotten by the balls because they've got the money? I don't know. I don't know whether the Glazers are holding it up. It's a very, very good point by Alexander. We know that INEOS have been put up at being in control of the footballing sides, and now they're getting the pressure of that. What are you doing around the manager? Why are players frustrated? Why won't people sign for us? Because there's no clarity. Well, that's on you. But they only own 25%. And whilst they are in control of the footballing side, can they actually do anything if the Glazers say, no, we're not going to pay for that? So we don't know. But look, we've suffered a lot as a fan base over the last 10 years. And longer, but the last 10 years specifically. This is meant to be revolution time. This is meant to be exciting time. And I tell you what, and I've been saying it for weeks, we are slow. We are slower than a bowl of porridge at the moment. We are really, really slow. And we need to speed up. And I don't think we can just sit there going, we'll wait till after the FA Cup final. What, June? We're waiting till June to make big decisions. if we're ignoring May completely in relation to signings, sales, and the manager, we're not going to sack the manager and then start signing players the next day. You then got to bring your new manager in. And then your new manager's got to assess things. It's scarily slow. And also, on the manager, can I just say, Plettigol, who's well versed in what is going on in Germany, this is what he's had to say in relation to Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel is set to remain as coach as Bayern. This is the result of yesterday's discussions as revealed last night. Bayern now focusing on Tuchel agreement. De Zerbi and Ten Hag are being considered and remain on the list, but the priority is now Tuchel. So, you know, I asked the question again. If we're keeping Ten Hag, announce it today, the players get their instant clarity, and signings know who the manager is. If we're still thinking about sacking Ten Hag after the FA Cup final, who the fuck are we going to get as manager? Because as much as I don't want Tuchel, and I really don't, I wasn't happy about who was available before that. And we've seen Nagelsmann go, Tuchel go. You know, who are we actually going to go for? As a what decision it is? What decision are you waiting to make at this point? Like, interestingly, Erik Ten Hag said, when asked whether he was staying, and I think that what I've heard from Ten Hag publicly in the last few days makes me think he's staying. He sounds very relaxed. He sounds very confident. But then when he's asked about it last night, he goes, it's a long answer, which I can't answer at the moment. What does he mean by a long answer? I don't know what's going on, and I don't think it's doing INEOS any favours at the moment, because we all want to get behind a revolutionary Manchester United, but everything just seems very Glazer-esque, very slow. You know, the Dan Ashworth deal, the manager decision, players seem to be a little bit uncertain about what's going on the inside and on the outside. We need to get the ball rolling for real, says who to blame. Exactly. Sam Brock says we're definitely in limbo and it must be all tied up with Ashworth not being in yet. Treading water. We've been doing it for years, so what's another year? Rory says, I'm looking forward to us signing Foden and really putting the Manchester back into Manchester United. Maybe get Oasis back together. Jim is worrying me. And Swanee says, so we should offer an alternative to Ten Hag, but you can't offer an alternative for players. Very hypocritical, says hashtag Ten Hag out. Yeah, I'm struggling with that one. So you need, yeah, so Swanee wants Ten Hag out, but can't offer an alternative. I figured that out. I mean, God, you must be fun at parties. So basically at a party, Swanee, if you don't like a song, if you're at a party and you don't like a song, you say, turn it off, it's shit. And the DJ says, what should I put on next? You go, not my job. That's the stupidity of that argument. And if I was the DJ, I'd say, I'll carry on with this then and let me do my job then, yeah? And you'd shut up. That's the best I've ever heard about that, actually. These people who want to sack Ten Hag but don't want to name a replacement. Yeah. Turn that music off. I don't like that song. What do you want then? Don't know. And what are you on about? Alternatives for players? What? I'll give you an alternative for a player every day of the bloody week, mate. What do you want? Frimpong at right back? Todibo and Branthwaite at centre back? Edison in the midfield? Sesko up front? Alicia on the wing? Do you want me to give you any alternatives for anyone else? Why would anyone pick... Yeah, I've done that one from as well. JK's got a good point, says, I think the long answer is about activating the +1 on Ten Hag's current deal. Oh, this is brilliant. I love this. Yeah. And this is what I love about this community, is that there are some very intelligent people out there with very different opinions. JK might have given us a theory here. So you know how Ten Hag looks very relaxed at the moment, looks happier than he has for a while, looks like he wants to stay at Manchester United, looks like he maybe thinks he's staying at Man United. But then when he was asked about it last night, he said it's a long answer. I wonder if this is it. So JK says, I think the long answer is actually about activating the +1 on Ten Hag's current deal. INEOS probably want to remove some of the power he had in his original contract. Yes. This is JK, hands up. I think, I'm not saying you're definitely right, but I think you might be onto something, because I was thinking about it. So if Ten Hag knows he's getting sacked, why would he be so happy? And then when he's asked about whether he's staying, say, it's a long answer, which I can't give at the moment. Well, you're sacked is not a long answer, and he wouldn't be so relaxed about it. You're staying is not, I'm staying is not a long answer either. So what's the long answer? And that might be it. Because if it's he wants to stay, but it's about the contract, then obviously the contract is probably still being negotiated. And obviously we know that his original contract was a lot more powerful than it should have been, because he basically had a lot of involvement in recruitment, which I think we all agree, and I think Ten Hag probably agrees, needs to be diluted a bit. So if Ten Hag had a veto on any signing, under the new regime, that will be diluted. But Ten Hag will probably not want to have no say in signing. So it could be something to do with that. You're right. It could be that there is some sort of negotiation going on with that. And look, flip it around. What if INEOS want to get the new contract done, but Ten Hag is, making sure it's good for him? But it's in everybody's interest to get this done quickly. Because if you're Ten Hag, you want to surely get your players settled and your new players in. What about Unai Emery if Ten Hag gets sacked? We've seen what a good manager he is at Aston Villa. Keep up the great work. We can't afford it, Ryle. We can't afford it. I mean, did you see that story yesterday? I apologised on Twitter and I don't even know anything about it. I think it came out from TalkSport that United want Ollie Watkins. Well, I nearly fell off my chair. I mean, Ollie Watkins to Man United. He's playing in the Champions League with Aston Villa next season and he'll cost about 120 million quid. I mean, it's just literally no, and oh what? Yeah, no. We're just not even going to try. Not even going to try at all. Edison out for the final, says Daniel G. Apparently he's fractured his eye socket, hasn't he, Edison? I mean, it doesn't make any bloody difference. Ortega is probably the best goalkeeper in the league behind Alisson and Edison, isn't he? I mean, he's a bloody good... It's not a weakness. Some might say it's an improvement. Every time I've seen Edison and Ortega this season, he's a good goalkeeper. Mid Lover says, of course you do. Just because we're Ten Hag out, we are stupid. And if someone says manager and they're brilliant, what a load of crap. No. Grow up, you little immature person. I've got no problem with Eric Ten Hag, with you being Eric Ten Hag out. What I have a problem with is we're a community. This ain't a fucking newspaper. We're a community that has spent 10 years interacting. So when you say Ten Hag out to me and I say, who's your alternative? And you go, not my problem. I go, well, you're not a very useful member of the community, are you? Because we like to converse and have a debate. And if you're saying Ten Hag but you don't know who to bring in, you're not a really useful fan, are you really? So, you hypothetically want to sack somebody, but you don't know who you're going to bring in. It's the same as saying, I want to sell Bruno Fernandes. Who are you going to bring as a replacement? Don't know. Not my job. Well, it's a bit weird. It's like it's a halfway house. Like, surely your brain can compute that if you want to sack somebody or replace somebody, you've got an idea of who you'd like to see come in. Otherwise, I just don't get it. I'm not saying a lot of you don't do that, but what I'm saying is, for me, that's not really something I don't know what I'm supposed to do with you. So you want to sack Ten Hag, but you've got no idea of anybody that can come in. So you want me to do it for you? Okay. Southgate, no. Potter, no. De Zerbi, too expensive. Thomas Frank, are you having a laugh? Who else? And we've been talking about this all season. Who is going to take the Man United job that's not a massive risk or a step down? And we've been talking about it all season. I do like Unai Emery, Ryle, but I also think with Unai Emery, there is a debate to be said that he is at the right level. I'm not disrespecting Aston Villa, but the expectations at Aston Villa are not the same as Arsenal or Manchester United, and the pressure's not the same. If you look at what he did at Villarreal, and you look at what he's doing at Aston Villa, I think he suits that club that's sort of not the biggest clubs in the league, but definitely can compete with them. Could he do a big club? Yeah, maybe, but there might be an element of a risk to it as well, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. But look, Unai Emery's done a fantastic job. There's no two ways about that. No two ways about it at all. Very, very good manager. And for me, Don't know about for you, but for me, he is Manager of the Year. Done a very, very good job. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. 2 o'clock shows, always quick, fast and furious. We have got the 8 o'clock show for you as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Absolute legends. Loving the conversation. I think what we're saying is, INEOS, get on with it. All eyes are on you at the moment, and you don't want those eyes on you for too long. Welcome to the pressure of running Manchester United Football Club. The honeymoon is over. Get to work, because you're dithering. And, you know, players, signings, manager are sort of like, what's happening? You need to get on with it. Other clubs are going to start buying players from Monday if they're not doing it already. What are we doing? We need a vision. We need some clarity. We need to get working. And also, let's not forget this. If you are keeping Ten Hag, you're making his summer harder by not getting on with it. You know, he could be working on deals now if we're keeping him. We need to get on with it. We could be telling players you're not part of their plans now. Let's get on with it. Let's get to work. We're back at 8 o'clock tonight, of course, and anything in between. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Loads going on with the United Stand at the moment, and on That's Football as well. Ooh, do not miss the podcast, Goldbridge Saves Football, at 4 o'clock. It hits Spotify. This is not a warning. It is a warning. This is no clickbait. This is not, this happened, but it didn't happen. This is 100% true. Goldbridge, and I feel you because I represent you in some ways, Goldbridge has been banned by a Premier League club. I am blacklisted. I am not allowed in the ground. I am stunned, gutted, surprised and disappointed. It's not Manchester United and it's not Manchester City. You'll be as surprised as I was. It's on the podcast at 4 o'clock. So get ready. If you've not listened to Goldbridge Saves Football, get yourself on Spotify, give it a follow, get your notifications on. 4 o'clock today. Trust me, I've been dealing with this privately for 48 hours. It's blown my mind. And the funny thing is, well, I won't give too much away. I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned. I'd laugh if it was Burnley. I'm giving you too many hints. Check it out at 4. We're back at 8. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Hope you're doing well. Really, I need to do more 2 o'clock shows. It's really good for my morale. I feel good. Take care.